Welcome to the Welsh Woodman Workshop, and in today's episode we're outside the workshop at Butser Ancient Farm. So this is the place where Rotten Romans, the horrible history film, has just been recently filmed, and we've got some ancient buildings, some woodwork and an old pole lathe. So it's very different from the electric lathe we use in the workshop. It uses a sapling and a rope to drive it, and it's a very different technique. So we're just going to have a look around the Butser Ancient Farm and see what it has to offer today. So hope you enjoy. So we're in the Iron Age section of Butser Ancient Farm at the moment, and we've got some Iron Aged mud huts. So the construction of the huts, they've used something called wattle and daub. So if you imagine that they weave hazel sticks, they tend to use backwards and forwards, and they'll mix up manure, horse manure, and a clay mixture, and that makes the render then for the outside. Just gonna have a look inside here. So we've got some traditional sort of baking ovens around the main hearth. I love the hearth rests. So we've got a dragon hearth rest. I might have to recreate something like that for my fire pit at home. And you'll notice with these huts, they don't have a chimney at the top. So it's a very smoky environment as we're at the top. And the main reason for that is that the bugs in the roof tend to get killed with the smoke, and it keeps them from sort of infesting the roof. So I've got something called a quern here. So bread was a major part of the diet, so they'd put their flour mixture into the top and move it round, and on the inside of these stones are sort of chiseled grooves, so it helps crush and grind that sort of flour and barley up into a bread mixture, much like we'd get like a salt grinder today. So I'll tell you what, these are really comfy. So we've got a sort of wooden stool there, so a slab that's been cut off, and some legs that have been sort of shaved down on a draw horse by the looks of it. But I think definitely this is a cool project for the workshop, so be seeing one of these stools in a future video, I'd have thought. So this is a sort of Iron Age granary, and they've found endless sort of examples during archaeological digs of 4-post structures with the posts dotted out at this equal distance, so we can assume it's a granary. It's quite interesting, the construction of the granary itself then. Off the ground, sort of allows it to get away from bugs. It's a common misconception about rats. So in sort of Iron Age Britain, rats weren't originally around according to archaeologists. It's only until the Romans come along that we start to see rats then getting introduced into Britain. So the structure of the grain house itself has a rebated groove in the 4 supports, which makes it really good then for your long slats to go in. So each board, the radial rings of the board, have been orientated in different directions, much like you do on a farmhouse table, and that rebate then stops it from warping over time. So it's a really sturdy structure, and the roof itself is thatch. So we're in another Celtic hut at the moment, and if we just have a look at the ceiling shot, it's amazing. This place is very well constructed. Everything sort of triangle structures going into the centre, which gives it a really strong support for this very heavy roof that's over the top. So we've got an Iron Age garage, so keep the carts and things into place out of the weather. We've got some yokes there for oxen to pull the carriage, and this is really cool. We've got overhead storage. I think eventually, if I was ever to rebuild the workshop, I would go for this overhead storage. So this would be the Celtic chieftain's hut. So we got the armour or mail on the wall there, nice hearth, and again with the dragon heads, they were found in Wales. There's a replica of them. You can see the originals in St Fagin's Museum in South Wales. Another quern stone, some amphoras there, a very comfy looking bed, and we've got another weaving loom there. So we've got your Iron Age toilet there, lovely wooden seat, so a compost toilet, love it. Some ashes then to throw down over your dirty waste. Even got a roof on that, look at that, it's brilliant, isn't it? So we've got a chicken hut, again off the ground then, they can be locked away, and it keeps it away from predators, so nasty old Mr. Fox. That's pretty cool construction, I really like that. So we've got torrential rain, And it's so nice and cosy in this. So we've set up 2 little stools. We've got a fire on the go, so it's nice and cosy. If you look at the roof, not a drop of water coming through, so it's doing its job well. It's very miserable out there. We're nice and cosy by the fire. So we got a reconstruction of a Roman villa. So this is the authentically made mosaic floor, and in total there's over 120,000 trestle tiles, and there's been over 1,000 hours of work put into this floor.
The zigzaggy bits, all this thread coming down here is my warp threads. So I have to do that first, and that piece there alone took 36 hours. Okay, and that's the bit the tailors and the dressmakers are going to chop off.
So we've got a massive log pile then, and so these larger logs are going to be converted by the on-site woodwright into these beams. So essentially what they'll do is you'd stand on the log and hew with an axe, so do a V-cut in with an axe all along the length of the log. Then you'd use a side axe to slice off those leftover bits from the V-cut, and they can actually be used as shingles then on roofs and things. We see that in sort of 17th century houses. Got some traditional sort of draw horses then, and work peg workbenches. And we've got the timber frame itself. So you see a triangle frame making a nice strong structure. Right at the tip of the triangle, we've got something called a cross-halving joint there. So half the thickness of this board, half the thickness of that board come together, and that makes it a really tight joint. And we've got a borehole there in the middle, so you can put a dowel peg with a wedge in there, and it'll expand these joints and make them really strong. We've also got a angled dovetail in there. So this is a lap dovetail, so about half the thickness you can see in the lap to the actual board itself going across, but that makes it really, really structurally strong. It means that we've got some more dovetails further down there for those support beams with some more dowel holes so you can drive pegs in to keep them together. So we've got 2 Saxon houses, so one completed, and they've done a wattle daub style construction on this around the frames with a thatched roof, and on the new sort of concept house then they've done a lattice style. So we definitely know the footprint of these from sort of stumps that have been found in the ground, so you know how large the buildings would have been, but there's some sort of debate amongst the construction. So we can see where those roof beams are coming at the top then, so with those dovetail joints coming in, the lap ones. If we have a look at the construction then, we can see the lattice going in between the framing joints. So the framing joints themselves, we have a long beam along the top, and they've got a mortise and tenon, a through mortise and tenon coming through all of these beams, and you can see how those through mortise and tenons have been notched out to fit the roof struts coming through. If we have a look at the door then in itself, we've got a lovely cross-halving joint at the top there into those through mortise and tenon joints, and it's very clever how they've tied the ends together. If we go right to the corner, we've got a cross-halving joint right in the corner there with a through mortise and tenon for the entire thing. So it's a very sturdy frame they've managed to complete here, and I'm not sure what sort of roofing they're going to be putting on, whether they're going to be experimenting with those shingles left over from the logs, or whether they're going to go for a thatch roof again. So it'll be interesting to see over a period of time what they come up with. So we've got a Saxon hut. Lovely, look at that lattice work at the top. Interestingly, they've got dovetails with a bore hole all the way through and a wedge joint then to expand out to really hold that dovetail into place. And what is quite nice about this room is the hearth is actually up off the ground. Cooking pot there. And if we look at the joints at the top, so we've got some more dovetail joints in there, so stop dovetails, or lap dovetails I should say. And the construction itself, so we've got some scarf joints coming together there. So unlike modern scarf joints, it looks like we're using dowel bores to keep these into place. The fantastic thing about Butser Ancient Farm, you've not only got some amazing historical buildings, but it's a working farm as well. So they have lots of animals, so really cute pigs. and they've got some sheep and rams then that you can actually buy feed for in the shop, and it's great for the kids then, so they can feed the sheep and pet them. And they've even got some really friendly goats then that the children can pet as well. So it's a good family day out, as well as a history sort of day out as well. Thank you so much for watching tonight's video, and I hope you found it really interesting. If you're ever in England, in the Hampshire area, I would 100% recommend checking out Butser Ancient Farm, as this video is only a snapshot as to what they have on offer. If you'd like to support me in subscribing to my channel, just please click the link below, and that'll help me get more videos your way. So we're just off home now to enjoy some of the local mead. So thank you again for watching. Diolch yn fawr, nos da.